Welcome to the Unique Beauty and Meditation Podcast. I'm Karen Slack. I'm here to chat a little bit about life, energetics, intuitive insight, emotions, the energy behind things, spirituality, the deeper meaning of things, joke around, offer some meditations. I'm a spiritual life coach, intuitive, empathic, energy worker who offers guided visual journeys, meditations, energy sessions that are a combination of meditation, energy work, and inner light energy work, or Reiki and inner light energy work. And I'm excited to be here with you. We've explored a lot on the podcast, and I'm gonna just start by celebrating the fact that I have consistently come back to this podcast for a good chunk of time now. If you've followed my podcast for very long, you know there's seasons where I get right into it and seasons that I get away from it, seasons that I get into it, seasons that I get away from it. So I'm going to take a moment to celebrate the fact that I've been in the podcast and involved in it for quite some time now. And I think I have established the habit. So cheers to that. Have a little cup of tea with me and we'll chat. Just as a reminder, any of the things that we talk about, tips, tricks, ideas, meditations, energy work, intuitive insight, those are all meant for spiritual entertainment, well-being, and enlightenment purposes only. If you have any physical or mental health concerns, please seek a physical or mental health professional. I am not a medical professional. I can guide you to some if you are interested. I'm just here to help people celebrate their uniquely beautiful self and tap into a little unique self-care along the way. Okay. So yeah, let's chat. I'm here in my office having a bit of a cup of tea. I was hoping to get to this podcast last night and sit at my desk at home that I just reestablished. It feels all new to me and I love it. I moved it to my living room and I was going to do this last night, but I realized after launching a new portion on my website, it was like 10:30 and I probably should be done for the night. Yeah, so I was excited last night because I just launched the first course that you can purchase on the unique self-care virtual classroom. I had offered a full moon meditation on that before for free. It was easier for me to set up. This time I figured out how I can put courses and content in there for you to purchase and download and keep. And it was a lot easier than I thought. So I'm really excited about that. Go check out the Unique Self-Care Virtual Classroom. Right now I have the stress relief meditation on it and I'm so excited. You know, when you do something and you're like, you get in your head that it's going to be really difficult before you do it and you don't know how to do it and you postpone doing it because you're afraid of the energy that it's going to take to get said project done. That was this. And it really didn't take as long as I expected at all. So, after doing that, I said, okay, podcast waits till Wednesday. So thank you for waiting till Wednesday or Thursday to gain access to this podcast this week. We are just coming off of Thanksgiving when I'm recording this podcast. I would love to know how everybody's Thanksgiving was. Feel free to send me a voice memo or a comment or a little message. You can access, I think you can leave a voice memo through Spotify maybe. You can do it through Facebook Messenger. You can shoot me a message on any of my social medias. I have submit a form on my website that you can submit information to me. So reach out and let me know what's going on with you. And if any of the stuff I'm talking about resonates with your life. Thanksgiving was good. It felt like tradition. It felt like comfort. It felt easier than years past for me. We separate our meals. We have 2 Thanksgiving meals and we do one on Thursday and then we do one on Saturday. And that's comfortable. But coming off of Thanksgiving One of the things that has been sitting with me and that I have heard multiple people reference and talk about is the notion of gratitude and building or getting back into that gratitude practice. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about gratitude and having a gratitude practice actually offers us. What does it do energetically within our life? Um, yeah, so sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and we'll chat a little bit more. Before we chat a little bit more, I want to update you on a few things I have going on before we finish our conversation about gratitude. I wanted to let you know I have some really great stuff going on for the month of December. I still have my end of year readings. These readings are fit nicely in a 30-minute time slot or in a mini session. And we draw some cards and touch base with your energy to visit where your energy is currently and what you can best do to help you move forward. So if you're interested in a reading, reach out. We can get you set up for that. I have launched, I think I have 7 of them total of the My Favorite Things gift sets. That song, These Are a Few of My Favorite Things. I'm not a singer, but that song plays in my head and played in my head the whole time while I was collecting the stuff for these. And they come with an artisan soap, because who doesn't love that? They come with a Himalayan salt stone, which is one of the main tools that I use for meditations and Reiki. I have people hold on to them during Reiki sessions. I use them in my meditations all the time. The idea is that they offer grounding energy, protection, cleansing, just simply something to be mindful with and play with during your fidget with during your session. Anchor your hands during an energy work, because if you've had any energy work and you lay on the bed and you're like, where do my hands go? I can't put them here. I can't put them here. You hold on to the stones and it gives them purpose. So anyway, they have one of those, and then each of them has a unique intention bracelet. My intention bracelets all have a theme to them. They have certain purposes, certain energies they remind us to welcome into our life. And then they come with a gift voucher, and you can choose either $10 or $25. So perfect little holiday gift all wrapped up into one for you. If you would like to check any of those out, let me know. I am launching an intention shop, hopefully on the website, hopefully by the end of the week. So I got that going on. I have 2 healing circles coming in December. They're hot chocolate healing and hot cocoa. We're going to do one in person and one virtual. So you can check out the events tab on the website to figure out when those are. And just in general, I'm still here offering energy sessions and meditation and spiritual life coaching sessions. And I would love to welcome you into this space. You get to care for yourself through December. How many of us sat down our self-care in December to complete the mirage of stuff we have to do? Maybe we get to take time for ourselves through that process. I'm here to help you for that. Okay, so those are the things I've got going on to December. Okay, so let's talk about gratitude. I have found that I continually revisit my unique morning routine. My unique morning routine is a pre-recorded meditation, I guess I'll call it. It could be a little bit of a morning journey. It's a more routine. And there is some visualization and some meditation and welcome a healing energy throughout. And then there's a part in there where I recognize a couple of gratitudes and a couple of places that I have added value to the world. And both of those are 2 things that I continually come back to in my own personal practice. As well as I've had a lot of people that have said, hey, I need to get back to my gratitude practice. I need to get back to my gratitude practice. So why are these gratitudes so important? What do they do for us? For me, gratitudes anchor me into this moment. For me, the gratitudes help to roll back the ruminating thoughts that have carried me away. For me, I feel like the gratitude is a bit of a tether or an anchor to reel in my anxiety that can peak up sometimes, probably more times than some. Um, and it helps me recognize the good and the beautiful things that are happening within my life right now, not just focusing on what I need to bring or what I need to do or what I need to have. And it reminds me that I don't have to try harder. It reminds me that I'm okay how I am now, even if things feel shadowy and bleak. There are some things that are okay right now. So for me, that's what the gratitudes do for me. Again, reach out, connect with me. What do the gratitudes do for you? I often feel like, what was I doing the other day? Oh, I didn't write it down, so give me a second while I connect with that thought. But I had a experience, personal experience recently that kind of threw me off for a few days. Probably about 4 or 5 days, my anxiety and fear was really triggered and for certain personal reasons. And I found myself in the moments like it would come in waves and it would wash over me and I'd be stuck in it. And in those moments where the anxiety really peaked up, um, I found myself leaning into the gratitude practice that I had built and that I have practiced over the years. And that really helped to anchor me back into this moment. Even like the other day at my breakfast, and I guess it might be a combination of mindfulness and gratitude, but I was grateful for the way the peanut butter tasted on my toast. I was grateful for the hot coffee in my mug. I was grateful for the sunshine outside. I was grateful for my clean, fresh space in my living room. I was grateful for having shampoo in the bottle in the shower because we went 3 or 4 days where we were scraping the bottom of the barrel because I really needed to get to the store to get the shampoo that I wanted and just didn't have the time to get there yet. So I was grateful for the shampoo that I had. I was grateful for the rose water spray in my facial routine, like little things like that. And when I started allowing these things to roll through my head, it became something easy for me to shift my focus from that anxiety and fear energy that I was in and move it into something that was present and there and stable and that was there for me. It was there in my life to make my life better. And it was a really great tool to offer some stepping stones away from the energy that I didn't want. And it occurred to me as I moved through this situation that a gratitude practice, when we can establish it and do it over time, it becomes a powerful grounding agent for our mind and then our body. Because I feel like when we slow down our mind, our body slows down. And it also becomes a excuse me, it becomes a set of stepping stones that help lead you out of the fight or flight response that can happen in life. So when I reference the fight or flight response, I reference the notion of anxiety, fear, overwhelm, busyness, getting to the next task, establishing, making things work in life, um, navigating through intense experiences, those things in our life, those experiences in our life that trigger that fight or flight response and tell us we need to watch out. We need to plan ahead. We need to protect our energy. And that type of fight or flight serves a purpose. Like if we're meant to run away from a bear or not go down a dark alley, we need that anxiousness or that fight or flight to help guide us in those situations. However, our consistently busy lives these days and the consistent energies and stories that we're hit with that are intense on social media and on TV and in our email box are And the conversations we have with people can trigger some of that fight or flight response. And having gone through, some people more than others over the last few years have gone through some pretty intense stuff. We've learned how to maintain a bit of that fight or flight. However, I don't think it's sustainable long term. It's not an energy to help us long term. So, a lot of people have been leaning into things like meditation and energy work and shadow work and emotional awareness and um, all sorts of different modalities to help them slow down that fight or flight response that they're stuck in. And I feel like gratitudes get to be one of that. Gratitudes help us recognize that in this moment, not yesterday and not moving forward, but in this moment, this is okay. But it doesn't do it in a toxic, positive way. I struggle with toxic positivity sometimes because I feel like we really get to dive into the shadow and learn from that shadowy part of ourselves. We get to embrace that deep, true inner healing and come out stronger and more beautiful on the other side. And I feel like sometimes toxic positivity keeps it all surface and makes us feel like if we don't consistently have positive thoughts that we're wrong and we're bad. I feel like there gets to be space for some of that shadowy stuff in life. We definitely don't want to get stuck in the shadow, and we definitely don't want to let the shadow be our identity. But we can lean into that a little bit if we need to learn from it, take what we learn, leave the rest, and move forward. That's part of that healing journey. Sometimes, though, we can get stuck in that shadow, and that all positivity feels toxic or feels so distant from us that we have a hard time identifying with it. That notion of, oh, just lighten up, or, oh, just don't worry. Sometimes that's hard to do. And when that stuff feels too far away, I feel like our gratitude is like a good friend holding a cup of tea to us saying, hey, sit with me for a minute and let's really talk. And then it brings it to that current level. The gratitudes bring it to our current space and let us know that, hey, this piece right here is okay. Everything else can be unsettled and still a valid experience you're going through. But this piece right here is okay. So I feel like the gratitudes often can partner up with that mindfulness in that manner and really support us with finding one step at a time to help us move forward. One step at a time to move out of the overshadowy experience or that fight or flight that we're stuck in and start moving into learning how to be open to receive the goodness around us. And sometimes it feels artificial, sometimes it feels unpracticed when we start, like sitting at breakfast and like, okay, I'm grateful for my coffee, and I'm grateful for the color of the paint on my walls, and I'm grateful for the sun outside. And it can feel a little artificial or unfamiliar. However, when we do it consistently on a regular basis, even just 2 things a day, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for this. It becomes a pattern in our mind and in our muscle memory, energetic muscle memory that that naturally happens. And we start calling on it. And I can see this with some of my friends and some of the clients that I've been working with. I can see this as they say, I need to get back to my gratitude practice. I need to get back to my gratitude practice. And they understand there's something in them that knows I'm missing that piece, that our mind and our body and our heart is missing that anchor that gratitude offers us. Now, gratitude practices are as unique as we are. Mine is to move through my unique morning routine, I allow universal energy, healing energy, and light to wash over me in a little visual meditation. And then it's all recorded so I don't have to actively think about it, because if I start actively thinking about it, I'm going to think about 10 other things. So it's a recording I listen to. I welcome this divine energy through. And then I prompt myself to come up with 2 gratitudes. And then I come up with the 2 gratitudes, and often there's a third and a fourth and a fifth that start popping in now, even more maybe. However, only 2, because those days where I'm having a really hard time connecting to the gratitudes, I can at least find 2 things that I'm really grateful for. And then I move into value, 2 ways that I've added value to the world. Excuse me. For me, that became an important piece of my routine. That was like a sister that walked with the gratitudes. It was like the gratitude and the value came together, because I can be grateful for all the things in my life. However, to be empowered and honor what I offer the world, I had to recognize some of those values. So for me, they go together. That's what I needed for my own personal practice, and so that I can be grateful for what I'm receiving, be grateful for these items that are here with me today. And I can also acknowledge there is stuff that I am able to give to the world. And it helps that continued circle of giving and receiving, giving and receiving. For me, I needed to find that balance. For you, it may be different. But 2 things that I value in the world. And then, that's what my practice looks like. What does your gratitude practice look like? Some people have a whole journal, and they just sit down and they take half an hour, 45 minutes, whatever, and they just write down all the stuff they're grateful for. Some people say it in their car. Some people share it with a friend. Sometimes when I'm doing my hair in the morning, apparently my gratitudes happen in the morning more than anything. But when I'm doing my hair in the morning, I'll have some gratitudes that I say. Or if I'm in an emotional, aggravated state and I'm by myself, I have a hard time doing this when I'm with my family. If I'm overwhelmed or over anxious within my house, that's where I want to take some of this gratitude practice and put it in those moments. I know that those are the moments that would be anchored and almost repaired if I can implement some gratitude into those moments. But for me, sometimes when my anxiety is really getting up there, that gratitude practice anchors me in that moment. So I'll just bring it out. So it changes. Yeah. So gratitudes. There's my thoughts on that. And the notion of the values I mentioned in my personal practice. I have 2 things I'm grateful for and 2 ways that I add value to the world. That's a topic for another podcast. That's a whole other conversation we get to have. Because as grateful as we are to receive all of these things in our life, it's also important that we recognize that we also give value to the world. And some of us that are really struggling with some of that self-esteem at times, that's a really powerful thing to add in. But let's start with the gratitudes. We'll talk about the notion of values another day. Thanks for taking the time to watch this podcast or listen to this podcast. It's available on YouTube and Spotify. If you enjoy what we talk about, if there's something that you want to talk about, questions you have, or something you're passionate about, reach out to me. Either I can answer or share my thoughts on it on a podcast, or I can have you come on and we can talk about it together. But yeah, share it with a friend. Follow, subscribe, wherever you find this podcast. By following, subscribing, or even leaving a review, you really help to show me that this is something that you enjoy and want to keep going. And it gives me that little bit of hit of dopamine to tell me to, okay, let's keep doing this. It's good. But also it tells all of the platforms that I put the podcast on that this is a good one to listen to, and they'll share it more. So there you go. There's my thoughts for today. as always, celebrate your uniquely beautiful self and share with me what you're grateful for. Share with somebody today 2 gratitudes, just 2. That's all you need. I was shuffling my cards earlier to pull a card, but I don't feel like we need it today. So maybe next time we'll do a little reading. Thank you very much. I appreciate you and I celebrate your uniquely beautiful self.